Good morning. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and I wanted to talk it's a very short video on the retainer that we use, and it is a good retainer and it is not difficult to use, and I'm going to run through that pretty fast and show you how we make it, and hope that you'll use this method to making retainers. Now we take our finished models. After you finish the case, you take a impression still with the brackets on there, and then we take the brackets off of the model. We remove the brackets off the model and have them. This is the finished model, and you get it just like you want it. And with brackets, you can do this. And we call the mother in if it's a child, or the father, or the whole family. I don't care. And get all of them to look at it. If there's anything there they want better or changed, do it before you start taking the stuff off. And make sure you jot it down that the mother and the father and everybody concerned is so satisfied with it. And when I take it off, the 6-year molar bands are still on retainer. This one, the second molar, hasn't fully erupted into the mouth yet, and we have this band space on there when we get through. We trim this down like the tooth is. Now this wire that we run on the inside, you can't see this one, but you can look at the one on the other side. This is an 036 stainless steel wire, and that wire is stout enough to keep the inside. Like if you make the trainer like a horseshoe, you run this up way on in here. You can even cross them in the middle there. And so you make one wire and put it on the tooth, put it on this molar, and you do the other one, and it's easy to make these 3 wires. It's difficult to start out here with one wire and go all the way around, and you do not need that heavy wire out here in front of the mouth. So we make the heavy part out of 036, and this is 028 wire right here, and we run the 036 wire here, lay the 028 wire right on top of it, and we solder it at that point. And I've never had these solders break like this. And your expansion part is right in here, where you can retract it and put it back, or whatever you want to use that. So this is a rather simple, plain retainer, and you do not use any clasp on this retainer. Do not run anything over the occlusion on it. You can make this retainer where you can hardly take it out by putting little tiny wedges of composite over the wire. Then you have to pick the wire up to get it out of there. And we can make these retainers where they stay in like mad with no interference and occlusion thing that runs into the tooth. And when you wear the retainer, it moves one way. When you take it out, it moves another way. And you want these teeth to erupt into each other, and that's where the stability comes. I mean, when you first finish the case, you'll see little spaces in there. And after a little while, the teeth close down, and you won't see those. The teeth are allowed to move together. The uppers can go down, and the lowers can go up. And that coming together, there's a kind of a 3-point contact. In other words, your upper bicuspid would come in this way, see, fit right in there. And that way the teeth have to be free to erupt together. And these little plastic things that you use, there's 2 layers of plastic in there. You can't finish the case with them. The finish of it is when the teeth erupt together and come in close contact with each other, and they should be able to do this while the retainer is in their mouth, not taking it out. So I'm going to go on to the next step here in doing this. And this is just sticky wax. You melt it and put this where you want it, and then you come in and solder this part right here up and keep this at a height you want to keep it at. And if you want to put it at a certain height, you push it there and put a little sliver of composite under it or over it, whatever is necessary to do, and it goes to that point and puts pressure on the tooth if you want to. And then we come in and fill this in. Now we're going to fill it in with acrylic, and we use the triad acrylic. I'm not trying to sell anything for anybody, but that's the thing that we use to make the retainer. And here's another view of it. You can see where we bonded this, put this on there, stay where in place, and now we're going to solder back in this area right there. And now we take the retainer, and prior to doing this, in other words, you go in and put a separating media over the model prior to doing that. Then you can take this out, and you can come back and put acrylic down in the groove where this wire is going to be coming in here. And now we'll push it. You see, we put the separator, it's kind of showing that. We put it back in, and we solder that thing back. And now we take it and put a sheet of acrylic over the whole thing like this. And you lay that sheet over there, and you take a Bart Parker now and go around and cut this off and leave the retainer like that. And we put that in whatever you use to harden acrylic. This picture's been here for a long time, and we used a machine like that. There are a lot better ones now that are much, much smaller and everything, and you harden that in there, and you pop it out and clean it up, and you keep this model forever. I don't know forever, but people come in and their kid, or they haven't been wearing the blooming thing, and they come in and say this retainer has changed. You don't even look at them. You say, well, give me your retainer. And then I say, here is the model that we made the retainer on, and this is the way your teeth look when we did this. And you put the retainer on there, and it fits like a glove. And you say, there's something wrong. Your teeth have moved. You haven't been wearing the retainer, or they know they haven't been wearing it. So you don't embarrass them, but you just show them the distance. Now, if you put it back in, and you wear it day and night for about 2 or 3 weeks or something, it may make the teeth a little sore, but it'll put the teeth back virtually where they were. And now, later, I've got another deal on that, putting the bite plate in here. We'll just skip that part here, but this is the basic retainer. We don't have the bite plate put on it. So I hope that you see this and learn how to make them yourself, or get your lab that makes them to do it. And do not run the darn clasp across here. Anywhere holding that thing on, you don't need it, and that interferes with the occlusion. It runs into this wire, and it moves one way when they got the retainer in, and it comes back when they take it out, and that is not what you want. You want these teeth to be free to erupt into each other, and that's the way you do it. And you put it in. I haven't done something or finished the bottom arch. It doesn't matter. We've finished this one. We can come back now and we'll put a 3-to-3 on the cuspid to cuspid in here on the lingual side. But I put the 3-to-3 in here. I put it on before I take the wires out. I've got the teeth just like we want them, and the we is the mother, the father, and the person looking at it. And so when we finish it with the brackets on, it's going to look like that. Then we take the brackets off. Back when we had to put bands around each teeth, you had 2 pieces of metal and 2 layers of cement that you had to take off between the teeth, and you got them where you thought they were going to have the torque, and now you close this space real quick and torque down, and you just say, oh God, I hope they look good now, because you couldn't do it. With the brackets, you can put them right on the money and then take it off, you see, and it'll be like that. If necessary, we'll put a lower retainer. But most of the time we just wear an upper retainer with a bite plate, and it stays like that. And I've had people wear these for 20 or 30 years, and just put them in at night. If you've got some cause that is still breathing through their mouth, or they have some where they put pressure on their even swallowing and creating a vacuum, they'll tend to move them. But you put the teeth like you want them, and then you take that off. Now while I'm here, this was cut down too long, and the gum line's pretty close, so we'll trim that up a little bit there. All right, that's the erupting, and you leave this alone and let them wear it with that little space. This will come down and close the space up. And that's the way the retention is done. The final movement of the teeth is in retention. And I'll stand by that. Or we make them a little box or something to keep it in. And that's it. And I hope you learned something from this. And I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll stop this thing. Thank you for watching. So we'll see you later. Bye-bye.